play. So welcome everyone to our class today, which is about stop sabotaging your success, right? I call this getting out of your own damn way, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but I have dealt with self-sabotage for a while, and it was like the light bulb finally went off and I realized that I was my problem and I was my solution as well. And so that required me to have a newfound self-awareness. And a lot of it was thanks to Elda, who is on this call. I owe a lot of my clarity to her helping me. But it has been quite the road, quite the journey along this road of entrepreneurship, right? We're all here as entrepreneurs trying to figure out how to make it all work, and we put up our own roadblocks for various reasons, and we're going to dive a little deeper into those reasons today. And we're actually going to, my goal for you is to help you become more self-aware so that when you hear it, because it's the little voice, right? When you hear it, then you know what to do with it, right? It shouldn't be that that our self-saboteur gets to be in the driver's seat. My goal is to put her in the trunk. Right now, she might be in the passenger seat, she might be in the back seat, but really I want her in the trunk because I don't want her to come. She doesn't get to play. She doesn't get to be in charge of the radio. She doesn't get to do any of those stuff, right? I need to be in control of that. Okay. So I wanted to just, if anyone would like, I would love to just do quick introductions. I also want to make sure that I'm very much a what happens here stays here kind of person. So if we can all agree to that if you share something that it stays here, right? That's super important to me. I don't want anyone to feel like they can't share because they're worried that something is going to be blabbed somewhere. I know that's not who we are, but I just like to say it so that everybody is on the same page. So Miss Page, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, everyone. I am Paige Engel, and I am located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin currently. I am a personal branding visibility strategist as well as a travel entrepreneur, and I lead tours to Paris, France, not right now. And I have a travel stationery business, and I am helping people get visible online and offline with different strategies. And I am basically a business bestie with Elaine. We've collaborated many, many times. And I am also the marketing director for a women's group, worldwide women's group. Thanks.
Fantastic. How about you, Trisha?
Okay. Basic thought on that is helping behind the scenes with administrative tasks, but my background is medical offices and I'm a medical billing expert, so I have a expertise and enjoyment in that.
Awesome. Glad that you are here. How about you, Christine, my VA? It's our first event together. Very exciting.
Very first event together. Hi, my name's Christine, and I am Elaine's VA. I'm coming to you from Colorado, and sorry, it's like we have a heat wave out here, so it's hot, so I'm sorry. But I'm really excited to be here. I do VA work, but I guess in my real job, I was a paralegal for a long time. I did a lot of personal defense stuff. But fast forward, I'm a life coach, yoga teacher, wellness, spirituality, all of that stuff. So I know a lot about self-sabotage, and I'm really excited to just assist and learn and I'm glad to be here. So thank you.
Thank you. How about you, Miss Elda?
Hi, everybody. My name's Elda Dorothy, and I am in the Minneapolis area. I focus on leading a life of compassion and looking for ways to be of service to others in a way that matters to them. And I'm excited to be here.
Yay, thank you. How about you, Kim?
Oh my gosh, that was perfect timing. It just finished printing.
Love that.
I'm Kim Berger. I am also in Colorado, but still sporting the sweater just because I'm indoors. I work for a company, actually, Paige, out of Wisconsin. Work with Best Version Media as a publisher. So I'd love to talk to you more on the branding side of things. And I do help businesses brand themselves in front of the most affluent neighborhoods by putting together the most beautiful, family-friendly publications that is very community-driven.
Fantastic. I'm glad you're here. How about you, Megan?
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I am from Weymouth, Mass, which is just south of Boston, so it's pretty chilly here. And I am a marketing consultant. I help businesses with their branded promotional products. And I am also a designer and artist. So I have a little Etsy shop that I put up some of my resin and poured paintings and jewelry.
Ooh.
And I think because of art and professional work proofing everything, I have trained myself to look for mistakes. And so it's like that kind of mindset that it's kind of negative, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need this training because I need to get out of my way and stop blocks. And yeah, so looking forward.
Wonderful. Sarah, are you able to unmute? Hi. Oh, you're muted still.
Hey, can you hear
There
me?
you go. Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Hey, I'm Sarah and I live in Florida. So I'm outside right now, but it looks like it's going to rain. So I'm trying to move everything inside. So bear with me here. And so I'm in Color Street Sales and I'm a boudoir photographer, but I just moved and I'm trying to break into a new market. And I'm kind of lost and moving through all of this mess, you know, in the real world has just been, you know, really crazy. So self-sabotage. Exactly.
Yay!
I confuse myself a lot and I'm just trying to get back on track, I think, and figure out where to go with my next move.
I got you, girl. I was there just a year ago, like retired from boudoir photography a little over a year ago. And so I've been there, like, I got you.
I'm super excited. I'm going to go back to muting and I'm going to move back inside. But I'm really nice to meet all of you.
Yeah, you as well. And Miss Andrea is on the call. She's not feeling like talking today, but Andrea is a photographer in our area here in Washington, and she is getting ready to, she is branching into boudoir photography. So that's been really fun. And I've been able to go to her studio and help her. And it's been really, really great. Her and her husband, Ray, are a husband-wife team, which is something that really makes them different. So I'm excited Andrea's here, but she's just send her lots of love today. She's here for distraction, and we are here to support her in however she chooses to show up. So, so for those of you that I have not met yet, hi. I am Elaine Turso, also known as Elaine the Brain. And I spent 10 years as a photographer, and over the last couple of years, kind of dabbling into helping other entrepreneurs, but really decided once I retired from photography for good, that I was going full-fledged into helping my fellow entrepreneurs. And so it's really interesting because when I was a photographer, my whole goal was to build confidence in women that I was photographing. And in doing what I'm doing now, I'm building confidence in my fellow entrepreneurs. So it just kind of like went from one to the other, and it works out really well because I love doing it. It's the thing that I was meant to do. It's the thing that just brings me so much joy, is to help people get out of their own damn way so they can get some shit done. Like, that is what I am all about. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set our intentions. Okay. So when we do anything like this, I find that when we can set our expectation, when we can set our intentions before we get started, it helps us get into the right mindset. And so my question for you is, how would you like to feel by the time we are done with this workshop today? Like, how do you want to feel? And how are you willing to show up for yourself? Okay. And what do you give yourself permission to do today? Okay. So just take a minute and just kind of like write down whatever is coming up for you. It's on page 1 of your workbook. The next question is, if you had no fear, what would you be doing in your personal life, in your professional life? Like, what would be different if you had no fear? If there was nothing in your way, if the sky was the limit, if you had a magic wand, if you had all the money in the world, all the time in the world, what would be different? Because it seems like money and time always seem to be like the thing that everybody uses as an excuse of why they're not doing the thing. Is, I don't have the money and I don't have the time. I know it. I read the surveys. So if you were abundant in the cash flow, if you were abundant in the time that you had in the day, what would you be doing different? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to address the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is it's your saboteur. It's her, right? It's her, because we're going to be talking about her today, and she is not going to really enjoy that. She's not. Okay, so we're going to just kind of let her know gently, hey, we're going to be talking about you today, and you may not like what you're about to hear, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that I'm evicting you from my life, but it does mean that something has to change. It does mean that our relationship status is going to change, maybe from married to it's complicated, right? Like, we just need to let her know that there's going to be some changes coming up, and just to kind of prepare her, right? Because she's not going to like this at all. And so anytime we want to step out of our comfort zone and do new, big, scary things, she's there. Anytime we're having fear or self-doubt, she's there. And so what I would like you to do is to just take a moment. You have some writing space available in your workbook to just kind of let her know that some things are going to happen, and you just kind of like just write a little bit of a little letter, a little love note to her, and just let her know that we're gonna go through some things here that might be uncomfortable for her, and she is going to make an appearance, and she is going to try to talk you out of doing things differently. She may talk you out of, trying new things. She may show up as anxiety. She may show up as depression. She may show up as, she's just fear. And when I think about my self-saboteur, like the thing that came into my head is that she's like this little girl sitting in the living room with bubble wrap. and she wants me to just come and play bubble wrap with her. And I think bubble wrap came up because I used to joke that I wanted to wrap my kids in bubble wrap just to protect them, And so like I envision her, like the protection is the bubble wrap. And so, but playing bubble wrap was really fun for me as a kid, like popping all the noises that would make, And so that's how I envision her, is that she's like, no, don't go over there. Just stay here and play bubble wrap with me. It's safe here. Like we have full control over what's going to happen here. If you go out there, I can't protect you. Like that's how I envision her. So just take a moment and just kind of give some acknowledgement to her and let her know what's up. And Paige has a question about self-sabotage or her self-saboteur. What's your question, Paige?
And I'm sure you're going to cover this. I just want to make sure I get the question out. Are you going to cover how, like, I feel like sometimes she's trying to protect me more than harm me? Are you going to kind of like walk us through that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so we're going to move on to our first question, which is, what is your self-saboteur's name? Mine is Sally. So when you are thinking about naming your self-saboteur, just go with the first name that comes into your mind.
Elaine, you froze on me and I didn't get to hear the name of your
I know. I keep getting these, your internet connection is unstable messages. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to do training. Okay, so let me repeat what I just said. So, what is your self-saboteur's name? My saboteur's name is Sally. And it was just literally the first name that came into my mind when you think about it. So it's just, I apologize whenever I meet someone named Sally. I'm like, I'm really sorry. It's nothing personal, but my saboteur's name is Sally. Sally the saboteur. Like that's what her name is. And so I've also had another one that's come through named Cheryl. I don't know where she comes from, but sometimes she shows up too, right? I always joke that I have 9 personalities, and so she's just one of them. So like, what is your saboteur's name? And I would like, if you come up with one, I would love for you to type it in the chat, just because I'm really curious to hear like what your saboteur's name is. Just the first thing you can think of. Sheila. Yeah. Don't tell my friend Sheila that. I have a dot in my chapter named Sheila. Ursula. Ooh, interesting. Karen. Ooh, are you talking about the Costco Karen or like Karen any white woman named Karen nowadays is, I feel so sorry for her. I've seen Becky, like I've heard about the Becky, and it's just really interesting how this.
I was going to say it's a public enemy.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Is Costco Karen, man. That woman, she's got some challenges going on, right? So the next question is, what does she say to you? If it is a she, it could be a he, but what do they say to you? Mine would say like, who do you think you are? You're not smart enough for that. Ooh, Rachel is saying, you can't do this. Why are you even trying? Yes, right? Who do you think you are? I didn't think I'm not qualified enough. Like I had that thing going on where I didn't think that I was capable of helping other people. right? Because I don't have any certifications and degrees hanging on my wall. Who would hire me, right? Like I had all that stuff going on. No one likes you. Incapable. Yes. Those are really, really good. And isn't that mean? She's so mean. She's so mean to us. So Paige,
Can't
here's
get back any farther because of the dog. Oh, I'm
Oh.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
I didn't.
It's okay. The next question, Paige, is what is she trying to protect you from? Like, what is she trying to protect you from? Is it getting hurt, feeling rejected, judgment from other people? When I do surveys, I love to do surveys, by the way. People just tell me the most amazing things in surveys. And besides over analyzing, the fear of judgment from other people is like the second in line of self-saboteur, is that there is a fear that someone is going to judge you, or that they're going to think something differently about you, and it keeps us from moving forward because we're afraid of what our friends or family might say about our new adventure, right? I hear that a lot when people are starting a business with like direct sales or something. There is the, well, I don't want to share this because what are they going to think? What are they going to say? Like, I'm with a new company now, and so they're going to start making snide comments or snide remarks that I'm in a pyramid scheme, like all the things, right? All the things start coming out, and it just keeps people stuck of not moving forward because of that fear. But there's a kind of a self-preservation that is a part of self-sabotage. Like, she is trying to protect you. And so I have conversations with my saboteur often. It begins with, thank you for trying to keep me safe, but I don't need you right now. Like, you can go to the trunk. I'm going to drive. I get control over the radio. You don't get to have a say. This is what I'm going to do. We'll play later. We could play bubble wrap later. Like, but right now I'm trying to do big, scary things. Thank you for trying to keep me safe, but I don't need you. Right? So that leads us into the next question is, how will you address them when they show up? What will you say? So I say thank you, but what will you say? What will you say to just let her know that you see her, you hear her, you're acknowledging her existence, because the reality is, after today, your saboteur, she's not going anywhere. This is not like an eviction, right? This is just a way to acknowledge that she's here, but that you don't need her right now. Maybe later, but not right now. Trisha, that's a good one. I have not announced I left corporate to extended family and friends because I don't want their negativity. It's only your networking and close family friends. I get it. Right? People love to project their bullshit onto us, don't they? Right? They love to project their own insecurities onto us. So when someone has that kind of negativity, it's not even about you. It's 100% about them and their feelings. And so it may be, oh my gosh, their fear of, well, how are you going to support yourself? Because I could never be an entrepreneur because I'd be too afraid of not getting that guaranteed paycheck. So they're taking that fear and projecting it onto you where it doesn't belong. Right? So what is self-sabotage? What is self-sabotage? So here's the deal. You have some fill in the blanks. I love fill in the blanks. So I will make sure that you know when there is a fill in the blank, and there is one coming up right now. So self-sabotage refers to behaviors or thought patterns. Behaviors and thought patterns that hold you back and prevent you from doing what you want to do. And the interesting thing about self-sabotage is this, like, it's our subconscious that sees self-sabotage as self-preservation, right? Self-preservation is protection. It's protecting our heart. It's protecting our feelings. It's protecting us from getting hurt. Because whenever we are outside of our comfort zone, we expose ourselves to failure. We expose ourselves to all the things that could go wrong, all the lessons. And that's actually not a bad thing. To learn lessons is not a bad thing. But when we look at it as failure instead of learning a lesson, that's where it turns negative. So you guys want some examples of some self-sabotage here? All right. So interestingly, I did a little question on my Facebook yesterday, and I asked some people like some examples of ways that they have sabotaged themselves. And I wrote 2 of them down that I thought were really good. And one of them was, she apologizes for the price or offering a discount before they've even had a chance to say no. She's presenting her offer and starts discounting it and assuming that they can't afford it, and they've never said, I can't afford that. So it's that insecurity of being rejected or being labeled as expensive. If we don't value our services, if we don't value our time, if we don't value our products, then we will undervalue ourselves because we are afraid of rejection, right? The next one that was shared was overwhelm. So just sitting and spinning and not knowing where to start, so you don't start at all. Sitting and spinning. And she posted a graphic of Kermit just going around and around and around, spinning in a bowl. And I was like, that's a pretty good description there of overanalyzing and, overwhelm. Have you ever been there where you just like, there's so many things to do and you just don't know where to start? One of the things that I have learned, I learned this from a friend of mine named Fidel, who, if you are not following him on social media, I highly encourage you to. His name is Fidel Ford. And he is this little tiny man from Jamaica. And he is just the most energetically positive, just person that you will ever come into contact with. And he's just so inspiring and uplifting. And he's let me interview him a couple of times. And we, for my first program that I did, he was letting me interview him about stress and overwhelm. And he said something that always stuck with me, which is that overwhelm and stress are an invitation to get back into alignment. So when you are feeling that overwhelming feeling of where do I start? What do I do first? He says it's an invitation to get back into alignment. And so what do? We take a breath. 3 seconds, right? 3 seconds to pause, to take a deep breath in, deep breath out. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of goes, okay, so then all of a sudden your brain can now process what is the most important thing for me to do right now, right? Or what is the thing that I can do on my list that's going to take me 5 minutes to get it off, right? It's an invitation to get back into alignment. So alignment for me is always about values. It's about your priorities. It's about service. It's about who your pillars in your business, like getting back into alignment. When we are out of alignment, that's when we invite in stress and overwhelm and all of that craziness. We're out of alignment. We're not on the path that we are supposed to be. So it's an invitation. And I'm like, oh my God, that's brilliant. It's a brilliant way to look at it, is to just take a pause, take a breath. So some other examples: procrastination. Anyone else here a last minute kind of girl? Oh, I am. I'm a last minute girl. I'm a last minute girl. Do you know why I'm a last minute girl? Because it's never not worked out for me. Waiting till the last minute has never not worked out. I finished my workbook this morning. I worked on it yesterday, but I blocked time out, but I knew my best stuff comes like when I'm about to do something. Like that's when my best thoughts and ideas and all that stuff come out. I don't know why. It's never not worked for me. So I will procrastinate and wait till the last minute. Anyone else? Like, can you relate at all? The next one, I should say the other kind of like behavior habit kind of thing is, the inner self negative talk, right? Do you talk negatively about yourself out loud, or even just kind of don't even realize that you're doing it? When my daughter was like 9, I used to say, my fat ass, my thunder thighs, right? I would talk negatively about myself, and she heard me and then thought the same thing about herself. Ugh. Talk about heartbreaking. That's my time machine moment. That's my time machine moment, because I did not respond the way that I wish I would have, right? But that inner dialogue that we tell ourselves, that we're not smart enough, that we're not thin enough, that we're not pretty enough, that we're not enough. Like that's really the bottom line, is it's about worthiness. That inner dialogue is really about worthiness. That's really the underlying issue there. And so if you're constantly criticizing yourself, that is, how on earth could we ever think that we're smart enough if we're only just criticizing ourselves for our past mistakes instead of looking at them as lessons, right? We have to be kind to ourselves. Perfectionism. Who here has to wait for it to be perfect before you get started? I see all the hands. I see you. I see you. You can't do anything. You can't take action. You can't do this. You can't do that until it has to be perfect. And so when we give ourselves that very unrealistic expectation of perfectionism, because perfect doesn't actually exist, right? That's like living your life on layaway, right? And one of the things I used to say was when I was doing photography and people would say, oh, when I lose 50 pounds, then I'll get my pictures taken. It was their excuse because, right? And so I would say you're living your life on layaway. If it's if this, then that is not living in the present, and that is waiting for things to be perfect, and it's just not going to happen. And I would say, well, why don't you do 2? Why don't you do one now and one when you are, in a couple of years? Because the reality is that if you're waiting for something like that, it's an excuse of I don't actually want to do it. Right? It's impossible. It's an impossible standard that we put on ourselves. We have to change our expectations. I would love to know if there are any other thoughts that you guys have around thoughts or behaviors or patterns that you are coming up against. Anyone want to share?
Well, I kind of like your terminology of your time machine moment. I've never heard that before. And my takeaway from that is more or less like, do you go back and rehash it? Because in my mind, I play the same thing over and over and over again. And that doesn't serve me. I know it doesn't serve me, but I can't seem to stop replaying it.
The
So
broken
do you
record.
actually do a visual? Huh?
The broken record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you do like, is there a process that you go back and kind of even play it out like a time machine so that you change the story? Because we know that once we change the story, then we change it in our minds and then we can kind of move forward. Is that your time machine moment? Is that what you do?
Yes. So when I was working with Elda, I'm gonna just give a little shout out to Elda, because that was a painful moment that I carried with me for a long time, and she helped me through journaling and tapping that with EFT and stuff like that. It really helped me kind of reframe that, and so that I could kind of forgive myself, because I was holding a lot of guilt and shame around the things that I said that I didn't like. I had to say, I had to give myself grace, because I was a young mom. Like, I didn't know, like, if I knew, now, if I would have known then what I know now, I would have said something completely different, but I can't change it. And so I have to forgive myself. Like, if it comes up, I have to forgive myself and say, I didn't know. Like, I wasn't mature enough yet. I wasn't in a place of my own self-love. I didn't have that yet. I do now. And I had to, like, there was a moment. It was actually really an interesting story, but there was a moment I was watching Tyra Banks show. Tyra Banks flipping through the channels back when she had a television show. And it was a mother-daughter episode. And it was talking about, it showed they like a blank body silhouette, and they were on there marking up their bodies. And this woman's like, they always have a psychologist, on. And she said something that really stuck with me was that, our daughters don't want to be better than their mothers. And so if you are putting yourself down, then she thinks that she's supposed to do the same. And so when I heard that, it was like my light bulb went off, and I said, I will never talk like that about myself ever again. And it took practice. Like, this is not just, it's a practice, right? And now I will tell you this, I am not, I am probably the heaviest weight I've ever been in my life. And I don't give a shit. I can stand naked in front of the mirror, and do you know what I see? I see myself. I no longer nitpick my body apart, because I had to change how I saw myself and how I see my body, and celebrate what my body can do versus the way that my body looks. Right. And so that time machine moment is really about forgiveness and what have I done to change, right? Like, what I would say differently. And although I can't go back and change what I said to my 9-year-old daughter, I can change what I say to her now, right? I can change my attitude. I can change the way, the things that I do now, right? So the broken record has stopped playing in my head because of that, because I got help from Elda, who helped me clear that shit that I was hanging on to for so long. And I was hanging on to something that I have no control over. I can't go back and change it. You know what I mean? And here I am beating myself up over and over and over again. And I just had to say, that's enough. Like, if I want to be happy, I have to change the way that my inner dialogue is communicating to my inner self. You know what I mean? Does that help, Kim? It's a very long answer to your question.
And I love that concept. The other thing that you said, living your life on layaway.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like thinking back to the old Kmart days, you know, when we put everything on layaway for the holidays.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, so, but how does that relate? Like, so we just have it set aside and we're making, you know, deposits, but how does it relate like with life itself? I have a call tomorrow with a gal, and I just keep seeing her having resistance around taking certain actions. And I said, oh man, we gotta like get through this resistance, because it's not just showing up for this, it's showing up everywhere in your life.
Right.
And that's what I looked at this. I was like, living your life on layaway, but how do I explain that to her in a way that it makes sense?
So what you resist persists, right? It will continue to show up in your life over and over and over again. And I actually did an exercise with a client back when I was doing photography. I had her write herself a check to pay off that balance because it was no longer serving her. And she was living her life with this idea that when I reach this, then I will be happy. And so it's about, you have a choice. You can be happy now. There's nothing that says you can't be happy right now. The end result that you're looking for is not necessarily going to change anything. Right? My daughter, I'll use her as an example again. She thought, you know, she works for Toyota. She sells cars. And she thought, when I get this promotion to this other position, then I'll be happy. Well, she gets that promotion. Is she happy? No. But in her mind, that's what she thought. Once I get here, then I'll be happy. Well, now she's doing it again. When I get to this new role, then everything will just, and I'm like, oh no, sister, but she is not open to receiving. So I don't just give. I don't give her without her being open. So she'll have some very hard lessons to learn. She will, right? And we can't force people to be ready either, right? It's their process. But one of the things that I know is that in order to, like, if you have this big goal, in order to get there, you have to make decisions as if you are there, because the decisions that you're making today in the current state of mind is not going to get you there. All the things you've done up until this point are not going to get you to that next level. You have to become a different person. It's like putting on a mask, or, you know, embodying a different personality, or being an actor, or whatever whatever you have to do. But what got you here is not going to get you there. Something has to change. And if she's having this resistance, it's probably showing up in multiple parts of her life. And she has to figure out what that is and be willing to make the changes that are necessary in order to get it unlocked. Because she's just going to be spinning around and around and around for a long time.
Yeah. I've watched it for a year, so
yeah,
I'm glad that she's open to some coaching around it. Yeah, and to your point there too, when I was a banker, I used to always tell my staff, dress for the position that you want,
yes,
not the position that you're in.
Correct.
And they used to always like, well, I'm just a teller. And like, yeah, you're going to be there for 20 years.
And that word just is a saboteur language. You're just a teller, right? Right.
True.
That's a worthiness.
True.
That's a worthiness thing right there. Anyone else have any thoughts or patterns, behaviors that they would like to share? Okay, so why do you think we do sabotage ourselves? There's a couple of reasons. There's three reasons why we do. The first one is that it can actually be a way to cope with stress. We have learned how to cope with stress sometimes in an unhealthy way. And so we repeatedly drop the ball. We repeatedly set ourselves up to sabotage ourselves as a way to cope with stress. And I know it's the most insane thing. Like, why do we do that to ourselves? Some of it is trauma, right? Some of it is trauma. And I am not certified or qualified to help anybody heal through trauma, but I have resources, but I am not that person. The second one is rooted in our feelings of self-worth. If you feel like you don't deserve to be successful, or you're feeling inadequate, if you set high goals for yourself and like we unintentionally sabotage ourselves, like self-preservation, like to be in the constant state of hustle, right? That we're just always, to everybody, we're just hustling, and we're trying to get there, but you're just doing busy work. You're not actually doing anything to actually push yourself forward. And the third one is that some of us use it as a way to control our own fate. It's like a twisted form of control. Because if I sabotage myself, now I'm in control and outside things cannot impact me because I'm sabotaging myself before I fail. I'm in control of that, right? It's very twisted. Number 2 is self-worth. So it's like we don't want to be blindsided. So we cut it short before we even get too close to the finish line. We say, no. Oh, wait. I don't want to be blindsided and have it not work out if I get there. So I'm going to not get there at all because I don't know what will happen. And what happens, all the things that people are going to say if it doesn't work out. So speaking of that, so we're going to talk a little bit about fear. And I always ask people if it's a fear of failure or a fear of success. And yes, you can have a fear of success. And so to me, success is subjective, which is a fill in the blank word. Success is subjective. Success looks different for everyone. My success and your success are not going to look the same. They are not the same definition, just like the word affordable or the word cheap. Very subjective. You may be a person that is fine spending $1,000 on a purse. And you were like, oh my God, such great value. And I'm like, that's expensive because I don't value purses like that. Right? And so it is all about perception. Success is completely subjective. And so the real question that I have for you, this is a fill in the blank word, is what are you truly afraid of losing? Because we think of success as gaining, which is your next fill in the blank word. We like to think of success as gaining, but what are you actually afraid of losing? If you were to become successful, what would you lose? So let's break that down a little bit. So check the boxes that 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 you can identify with. Okay. The fear of losing it all. Do you have a fear of losing it all? What if I lose my house? What if I can't feed my family? So we avoid losing it all by not being successful, right? We don't have anything to lose if we don't ever make it to the top. How about the fear of the future, the fear of the unknown? We just don't know. Especially, like, let's look at what's going on in the world right now. We just don't know. So how do we move forward when we don't know what's going to happen? Like, I'm going to use this as an example. If you were planning a wedding, you're going to be like, when can we do this? We don't know. So do you move forward and hope? Or do you, no, we're just not going to, right? There's the fear of the unknown there. The next one is, what if I can't handle it all? Let's say that you make it, you reach this big goal, you book all these clients, and oh man, this is so amazing. Can you handle all of those new clients? So when I help people like do the math and reverse engineer their goals, and they look at the financials and they're like, well, I want to make $1 million or I want to make $100,000. And then they go, oh shit, in order to do that, I actually have I have to have like 200 clients. I can't handle 200 clients. So maybe I'm just not going to pursue that then. So we sabotage ourselves because can we handle all of the new things that are going to have to be put on our plate? Because Lord knows we're too cheap to hire any help. Because how are you going to do it alone? I finally figured out I cannot do it alone. Hired my girl Christine over there to help me, right? At what point are you going to say, and because what I've learned is that building a team is what grows your business. It's not, you can't do it reverse, right? You don't build your business and then hire a team. You need the team to help you grow your business. It's crazy. So the next one, the fear of money. Anyone here afraid of money? Have like a scarcity? Oh my God, right? Receiving money, spending money, just money in general makes some of people feel very icky with money. Doesn't have a good feeling for them. And that could stem from how you grew up. Maybe you grew up in poverty, didn't have a lot. And so sometimes we have this hoarding money mentality where we can't spend money because we don't know if we're gonna not make more. Because we don't have the belief in ourselves that we can actually make more money. So we hold on to all of it and we don't spend it because we might need it. The other thing is, what will people think if you have a lot of money? If you look at people that like celebrities or Jeff Bezos from Amazon, what do you think about him? He's got all this money. How do you actually feel about him? I'd love to hear from you guys actually what you think about that. Right? It's probably not a good thought. Spoiled, entitled. We don't know how much work he actually put into getting to where he's at. Christine, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I think it's probably possible he treats his, like the employees that make him all this money better. I don't know. That's just I like to take care of people,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So.
Yeah, we want to assume the best, right?
Right.
We don't want to assume that he's an asshole.
Right.
Right. Could be. I don't know.
Right.
Never met him.
Right.
Right. But we make these assumptions about people, especially like celebrities. They hire a nanny to take care of their kids and they don't cook their meals and they don't go to the grocery store. right? So why would you want people to think that about you? So do you not make money because you don't want people to think that about you? So that kind of leads into the next one, is about judgment from others. What will people think or say about you with your business, with your success, with the money that you're making? And do you have a fear of people tearing you down online? Paige had a hater today, you guys. I know. She called me. She's like, girl, I think I made it because I got a hater today. She made it in the world. All she did was post a little Instagram reel with the Dr. Pepper, and someone come along and said, so you must have diabetes. And she's like, what? So, right? So is it a thing where you could be worried about being attacked online? So you don't put yourself out there to tell people what you do, to promote your business, because what if someone isn't nice to you? How could your relationships change? Do you have a friend or a family member who maybe thinks that you're going to leave them behind if you make all this money? And they're not going to be very supportive if you make a lot of money, because what if you leave them? And it could be a good thing or a bad thing, right? And then the final one is that we are so afraid to fail that we don't even try. That failure is just the worst thing that could ever happen. So we don't do it because we're absolutely terrified of what will actually happen if it doesn't come true. So we have a fill in the blank over here. So we're putting an awful lot of unnecessary suffering on ourselves for a lot of what ifs. A lot of what ifs is putting a lot of unnecessary suffering on ourselves. So my question is, can you forgive yourself for putting all of this unnecessary pressure on yourself? Like, how do you move forward? When you look at the things that you marked down, and you can actually be open and honest with yourself and say, this is where I'm struggling. I struggle with this. It's being aware that that is actually a thing. If you can become aware of it, then you can change it. But you can't change it if you're not aware of it. So the next thing we're going to talk about is imposter syndrome. Fill in the blank. 70% of people are suffering from imposter syndrome. So I actually have an interesting way of, so you're going to have some 1 through 6 here. The first one is imposter syndrome. So write that one down. Imposter syndrome, I like to, call that one as like you're a fake or a fraud or a phony, or someone's going to find out that you don't know what the hell you're doing. They're going to figure it all out. I have some responses to that one. Imposter syndrome. So what if I am? So what? Like literally, haha, fooled ya. You thought I knew what I was doing, but I didn't. Right? So what? So what? So imposter syndrome is really, chronic self-doubt. It's like, you're not smart enough. Who do you think you are? And you will never, ever feel successful because you don't feel like you actually earned it or that you deserve it. So no matter what you do, no matter how great you do, no matter the wins, the celebrations, the goals that you hit, it will never, ever be good enough. Number 2 is the perfectionist. So the perfectionist, she's going to struggle with being a micromanager, right? Has to be done right. And I'm the only one who can do it. No one else can do it as well as I can do it. Number 3 is the superwoman. She is the one who is like the workaholic. She is trying to do it all and refuses to let anyone help her. She stays late at work. She does it all. She's a terrible boss to herself. She would never treat her employees that way, but she'll treat herself that way. Right? No time for hobbies, no time for family. It's work, work, work all the time. They're addicted to the validation. They wear overwhelm like a badge of honor. They wear stress like a badge of honor. Right? And then when someone tells you you're doing a good job, you don't believe them. You shrug that off. Right? Shrug that off. Number 4 is the natural genius. Everything comes easy. Don't have to work very hard. It just all comes naturally. You get all the gold stars, you get all straight A's in school, and then something comes along that you've never done before, and you have to learn something new, and boy, is your ego not having it. My son, 4th grade, oh dear Lord, he figured out there was something he didn't know and meltdown. Because he was supposed to know it all in the 4th grade, you know. Kind of crap is that? Number 5 is the soloist. The one who can do it all on their own. I don't need help from anyone. I got this. No, 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 don't worry. I can do it. Someone offers to help. No, no, no. I can do it. Don't worry. I got it. And number 6 is the expert. If you were to look at a job and you were to look at their requirements, you would never think you are qualified for any job because you have to meet every single bullet point. And if you don't meet every single bullet point on that job application, you're not going to apply for it. Because you have to know everything. And you are the person who consumes all, you educate, and never take any action. Addicted to learning, but not taking any action. And Paige is right. Men do not do this shit. It is only us. Men are not in their heads like we are. Why do we do this to ourselves? So I want you to embrace imposter syndrome. I want you to pretend that you are fooling everyone. Ha ha ha. You, right? Fooled ya. I tricked ya. I'm a really great actress. You think I know what I'm doing. You think I have my shit together. Girl, no, I don't. Like that is how I want you to embrace imposter syndrome. It's like becoming an alter ego. I have an alter ego. Anyone else? My alter ego's name is Fuck It Felicia. She reads badass affirmation cards with really funny voices. That's just what she does. My husband doesn't really like her. He's like, I don't like, because it distorts your face. And he's like, I don't really like that. And I'm like, I don't really care. So we're going to talk about the spiderweb effect. So you have a graphic of a spider web, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to use this opportunity to write on the spider web the thoughts, the broken record, the things that you just can't seem to escape from. So while we're growing up, like I have this, it's like this philosophy that our minds are like a spider web, okay? And as we're growing up, we hear people say things to us, little brats on the playground making fun of our hair. And now we become self-conscious about our hair for the rest of our lives because some little brat on the playground talked about our hair, right? To the things that you say to yourself, right? Fat ass, thunder thighs. That's the kind of stuff I would write on my spider web, okay? So the things that just never go away, write them on your on the spider web. The things that are on repeat. You're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not thin enough. Who do you think you are? All the little things that your little inner critic says to you. We're going to do an exercise a little later about clearing the cobwebs. But first we need to focus on how to break the pattern. Okay. So the interesting thing is that people are more motivated. Here's some fill in the blanks for you. People are motivated by the fear of loss more than the potential to gain. Isn't that crazy? We are more motivated based on what we think we're going to lose than motivated by what we're going to get or what we're going to receive. I just think that's insanity and completely backwards. So we have a fear cycle pattern. These are all fill in the blanks. So here we go. Fear creates doubt. Doubt creates sabotage. Sabotage creates insanity. Therefore, insanity creates fear. It's that horrible little cycle, and it just plays on repeat over and over and over again. So how are we going to break that? We have to break the pattern, which means that we have to create a new pattern, a new belief system. This new belief system is that fear creates opportunity. If you were to look at fear as opportunity instead of using doubt, think about how things would be so different for you. An opportunity to learn something new, an opportunity to step out of your comfort zone. It's a good thing. That's where growth happens. But instead, when we're like, well, what if this, what if that, what, how about what, you're in the wrong cycle there. You're not going to go anywhere. An opportunity creates action. if you were to take action on the opportunities that are presented to you, the things that would change for you are huge. Action creates success. You cannot be successful just sitting on your couch. You have to do something in order to find success. Success creates energy. When good things happen, when you get a new client, when you receive money, guess what happens? Your energy shifts. And guess what else happens? You get more of it because you're in this place of receiving and being in gratitude. When I receive money, I go, thank you. Thank you for paying your invoice. Right? And energy and action cure fear. The best way to cure fear is to take action. Action cures fear. So, do you want to be in doubt or do you want to be in action? So it's kind of a choice, right? So, getting out of your own damn way, embracing the suck. I kind of put some tips in here for you. My favorite one on here, there's multiple, but my favorite one on here is the cost of your future business is your current one. The cost of your future business is your current one. How on earth can you grow a company or a business to super high profitable if you are in the current place, your current mindset? You have to let your current mindset go in order to bring in the new mindset that has this growth attitude, this growth mindset. So another fill in the blank here for you is that changing our negative behaviors is fundamental if we are going to stop sabotaging ourselves. We have to change our behavior. 100%. So my question is, what negative behaviors do you find yourself dealing with over and over again? What behaviors keep coming up? I procrastinate, wait till the last minute, right? I overbook my calendar. That could be a good example. I cancel appointments because I'm scared that will actually result in anything positive. I've known people that do that. If it's a potential client that they have to have that conversation of, oh my gosh, I have to tell them I'm going to charge them thousands of dollars, they will cancel it because they're afraid of being rejected. And so they wonder why they don't have a business. They say they have a business, but they don't actually have a profitable business because they're afraid to charge people money. Anyone want to share a negative behavior that you deal with over and over and over again? Maybe you constantly miss deadlines, don't follow through with leads. Make a to-do list and nothing ever really got done. And you're like, what the hell did I even do today? I didn't get anything done because you spent most of your day on Facebook, right? So the next question is, what is a one small, meaningful change that you could make and apply to your life or your business? One tiny little thing. Because here's the deal. You can't just change overnight and expect that it's going to work. Like, this has to be something that is small, that is something that you can like easily implement. If you try to go and change everything that who you are and what you do all at one time, no. This is like running a marathon, right? You don't just go start running the entire thing the first day you start running. You got to build up to that. Mile at a time. Start out with 1 mile, and then for a week, and then the next you go up to 3 miles or whatever, but you have to like build up your stamina. It can't just be, this is not ripping off the Band-Aid. This is small, meaningful change, and just one. And I would love to hear if anyone has any that they want to share.
All of those. All of them. Okay.
All of them. So there are some steps. Yes.
Can I just say something, Elaine? I think what's interesting is that, like, for me, I've experienced each of those at different times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe not all together, but at different times, stages in my business or in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of, it's hard to really pinpoint which one I want to focus on right now, because the one I'm focusing on today could be totally different tomorrow.
Right.
So how do we handle that?
Little bit at a time, inch by inch, mile by mile. It's what can I do today? What can I do today? What can I do in this moment? So I'm being presented with an opportunity. What would my self-saboteur try to do to stop me from doing this? Versus what am I actually going to do in order to break the cycle? And I'm going to take action. I'm going to use, I don't know if you heard the Marco Polo today, but one of our gals did something that she has been scared to do. All it was sending an email to potential people to get her business to the next level. She did that, and within 5 minutes had a response saying yes. But she was so scared to do it. And so in that moment, she decided to not be scared and to just do the damn thing, put herself out there, and look at what happened because of it. You know? I think one of the things that we tend to do is we let our insecurities get the better of us. And insecurity is really just the lack of confidence. Maybe it's something we've never done before. So that's a little scary. Oh my gosh, I've never done this before. What are all the horrible things that could happen? So how do we boost our confidence? I have 10 little tips. The first one is to be kind to yourself. Give yourself space and grace. You're human. You're not perfect, and that's okay. Be kind to yourself. Number 2 is to stop apologizing for existing. You don't have to say you're sorry all the time. You can, if you're going to go in front of someone at the grocery store, you can just say, excuse me, versus I'm sorry. We say I'm sorry for everything. Men don't do this. Why do we do this to ourselves? We apologize for just existing. Number 3 is to fall in love with yourself. Have you ever gone on a date with yourself and just like by yourself and do something new? Like, who are you? Who are you? What do you love to do? How many of us do whatever somebody else wants to do because we're afraid to say that the thing that we really want to do because we're worried they're going to say, I don't want to do that. That's me. I'm worried my husband's going to make a weird face at me and then I'm going to be mad and not want to do it and he's saying yes. And I'm like, you really don't want to. It's a horrible cycle. Horrible cycle. So I'm learning to go do things on my own. I don't need him to go with me to do the things that I enjoy. And number 4 is to own your individuality. Be different on purpose. Be yourself on purpose. Do not try to be anyone else. Comparison is the thief of joy. You cannot be anyone else, nor should you try to be anyone else. You do you. That's all you're expected to do. Number 5 is to recognize that you are perfectly imperfect. I got a tattoo on my wrist to remind myself of that I am not perfect and I'm not expected to be. Right? Number 6 is to recognize that your flaws are your superpowers. One time, someone told me that I was too loud. Do you see what I'm doing now? I am using my loudness to help other people. I've decided to turn it into my superpower. But the next one is I'm never allowed to use it for evil. I cannot use my voice for evil. So I will not be unkind to people. I will not be hateful to people because that's not okay. It goes against everything I believe in, which is number 8. Be kind to people always. Even if they don't deserve it, you be kind anyways, right? When you are kind to other people, even if they don't deserve it, it improves your confidence. Okay. And number 9 is to find clarity, your purpose, and your mission. We are all here for a reason. And it is selfish of you to not share your gifts with the world. Right? We are so scared of putting ourselves out there that we are denying people the opportunity to be served and helped by us, the person who can help them. And number 10 is to just go out there and live your damn life. Stop caring about what other people think and just do the things that bring you joy. I'll see you in a little bit, Paige. Paige has a class coming up after this is over. I'm very excited. I'm going to go learn about Instagram stories and how to take that to the next level. So we're going to talk about clearing out the cobwebs. So you did your spider web. And so here's the thing. Let's pretend that you're a spider. I know some people don't like spiders. I'm okay with them. I'm not afraid of spiders. But let's say that you are a spider. You built this beautiful web and a dandelion comes along and gets stuck in your spider web. The whole purpose of a spider web is to catch bugs, to eat, to give you nourishment. We all need food, right? A dandelion comes in your spider web. What are you going to do? Are you going to spend your energy on that dandelion? Or are you going to cut the strings, let it go, and rebuild it, that section of your web? It's choice. So for every negative thought that comes into your spider web, you have the choice whether to let it stick or whether to let it go? Are you going to use your energy dealing with this bullshit? Or are you going to say, I don't have time for that right now? It's 100% a choice. So for each negative thought that you put on your spider web, you're going to write on that next column, are you going to let it stick or are you going to let it go? And letting it go doesn't mean that you forget about it and that it never surfaces again, right? It's not, but it's you taking control over whether or not you're going to allow that to have an impact on your mind, your spider web. And there's a fantastic quote on here from Will Smith that I just absolutely love. And it says, the only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. And I thought he did this video of him skydiving, right? And I think the skydiving metaphor is fantastic because, you know, if you've never skydived before, I haven't. I have no desire to. It's not that I'm afraid to. I just don't have any desire jumping out of an airplane. But my husband did it for a long time. And it's like the nervousness of, oh my God, I'm about to jump out of an airplane, right? The nerves are, and you're like, crap, I'd cancel, but I already paid for it. That was the trick, by the way, I did when I was doing boudoir photography. I'd make them pay for their photo shoot in advance. Otherwise they'd cancel because they would talk themselves out of it because their nerves would get the best of them. But if you've already paid someone $500, you're going to show up. You've already paid to jump out of an airplane. You have to show up. So you show up and you're nervous the whole day. You get up there, you're so scared. You jump out of the airplane, you land safely, and you go, oh my God, that was so fun. Can we do it again? Because all of a sudden, now all of that fear has been completely erased. It was the fear of you just don't know what the outcome is going to be. So we put this fear of things that may or may not ever exist on us. We cannot predict the future. And so what if it doesn't work out? What's the worst thing that could happen? Will you become homeless if it doesn't work out? Most people, when I ask them that question, they're like, no. I'm like, so what the hell are you afraid of? Like, that's truly, to me, that's the worst thing that could happen is I would lose my house. Is that ever going to happen? No. So what do I really have to lose? Or is it what do I really have to gain that terrifies me? Which one is it? So there's another exercise on here that's talking about your inner mean girl, your self-saboteur, and the things that she says to you, and how can you replace that? So one of them I wrote down was that you are such a disappointment to everyone. Why do you even try? So I will replace that with that I have a gift to help others and that I am committed to showing up and doing my best. So this is really about flipping the script, flipping the dialogue that shows up from as courtesy of your self-saboteur. Sally's over here talking smack. But is she right? Is it true? Are those things that she's saying, that self-doubt that's really coming up, that fear, is it actually true? Am I a disappointment to everyone? No. I'm doing my best, right? I'm here to help people. I don't have control over whether people are disappointed in me or not. I have no control over that. I just show up as myself and do my best. And maybe what I do helps somebody today. I'm just doing my best. So there are some, there's a thing called a growth brain and a fixed brain. Growth mindset, fixed mindset. And in order to make a shift, we have to be more in growth mindset than we do in fixed mindset. So there's some examples here. And what I want you to do is go through and circle the ones that you think you might like to work on improving. So if you're like, okay, I feel like I am in a fixed brain mindset around this, but I want to get over here. So I'm going to circle that to remind myself that that's something that I need to work on. Because here's the thing that's going to happen. I'm just going to give you guys a little warning here. Because you are here today, the universe is going to start giving you opportunities to practice your new mindset. When you ask God or the universe or whoever to be more patient, they will send you opportunities to be patient. That is exactly what is going to happen today or in the near future. Things are going to start coming at you to practice what you have learned. And so knowing these things in advance, you'll be like, whoa, no, this is new. Okay, I got to go back to my workbook here and figure out, all right, how am I going to do this? How am I going to change it from, because if I want to get there, I can't do it with the same mindset that I am here. I have to change it. Right? It's some crazy stuff. I'm just telling you, giving you a fair warning. Things are going to start happening for you. So one of the things that I love, one of the ones on here that I really love is looking for a way or looking for an excuse. Because you can't have both. So do you see like obstacles? So there's hurdles and there's walls. Hurdles can be jumped over. Walls, we can't go through walls. Walls means you're on the wrong path and you need to turn around and go back. But hurdles are a good thing. Hurdles are what is required for you to get to the next level. This is not supposed to be easy. We were never promised that life or running a business was going to be easy. We have to have these hurdles in order to help us grow and to learn. That's how we learn. It's like touching a hot stove. You only do it once. You'll only touch the hot stove one time, right? You learn. That's hot, don't touch that. So do you see those obstacles as a stumbling block and a reason to quit? Or do you see them as a way as stepping stones and a way to get help and to move forward? You can look for a way or you can look for an excuse. It's totally a choice. So there's some fill in the blanks down there about training your brain. Okay. Be inspired by other people's success. Let's not be threatened by it. If someone is doing amazing things, celebrate with them, congratulate them. When I saw other photographers in my area, like I had to get a new mindset that I can't be everyone's photographer. Right? I looked at them as, ooh, referral partners. Like I had to change my mindset and get out of this like jealousy bitch mentality that I was the only photographer in town. And that's ridiculousness, right? Look for a way when you are faced with obstacles, right? So instead of an excuse, you look for a way. There is a solution to every problem that we come up against, right? Every problem has a solution. Are you willing to do the extra, right? The fortune is in the extra mile. That's where it is. It's not the people that just do the bare minimum. It's the people that go above and beyond what was asked. Those are the people that are making millions of dollars. They were willing to do more than what was asked of them. Do you embrace risk instead of avoiding it? So what if you said, ooh, that's a risk. What's the worst thing that could happen? Will you become homeless if it doesn't work out? What could you gain by taking that risk? You have to weigh it out, right? Focusing on the needs of others instead of focusing on money. Service over money wins every time. How can I serve you? Not how much money are you going to give me? And the last one is, do you see money as a tool for freedom or instead of a tool to buy stuff? Isn't that an interesting one? So we're going to talk about old programming and new programming. So old programming is full of fear, doubt, worry, analysis paralysis, overwhelm, rationalizing, justifying, explaining away, blame, which equals I quit. I quit. That's your old man. That's old programming. When those things come, we quit. New programming is curiosity. Like lean forward, be curious about the opportunity that is coming out of you from nowhere. Be curious instead of immediately saying no. My husband always says this drives me absolutely crazy. We can't afford that. I'm like, you don't know what the hell we can afford. But that's his initial gut reaction to everything. Yeah, I hear you, girl. I hear you. I hear you. We can't afford that. Like, be curious. Ask more questions. Have faith. Faith is the trust that it's going to all work out. Hope. Make quick decisions. Commit to the process. Be excited. Lean forward. Take action. Be in a successful mindset. Have positive energy. Be patient. This all equals a breakthrough to success. That is new programming. All of those things come with a breakthrough. We have some more fill in the blanks here. A breakthrough requires breaking the rules. You have to break the rules if you want to get to the next level. Remember, what got you here is not going to get you there. You have to do something different. And that requires new programming. Old programming is not going to get you where you want to go. Can we all agree on that? It's just not going to happen. So thinking about your old programming, the old thought pattern, and then I want you to create a new programming, a new thought pattern. So when these opportunities start coming at you, because I told you they're going to, what is going to be your new mindset, your new programming that you, like the filter that you're going to run it through before you make a decision? Okay. And be aware that the old programming will continuously try to show up. It's not going away. You have to actively go against it, like intentionally, on purpose. Say, no, thought, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to try this way instead, and let's see what happens. So what is that going to be for you? It's having that self-awareness that, oh, this is happening. Being aware of it is the first step to being able to change it, remember? So here comes a thought. Oh, I'm aware of it. Do I want to have old programming answer this thought, or new programming that is full of curiosity and faith and hope and all of the positive energy? Which one do I want to show up?
Elaine,
Yes.
I share really quick.
Yes.
So there was a time I was out here in Colorado. Banking at the time that I moved was a horrible thing. And so I kept recreating myself. And I found that the one thing I was totally addicted to was like yard selling. And I would just kept filling all those holes, right? I kept hoarding and filling holes, hoarding and filling holes. And then I thought, I'll justify this. I'll make it a business. Like, I'll buy this stuff and I'll resell it, right? Because I obviously have a passion for it. And I kept doing that until I filled up a whole barn, 30 by 50, filled up a 20-foot Connex. Like, I kept buying all this stuff. And I knew there was something wrong, right? I knew my programming was like skewed, and I had done everything to justify, like, it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my house didn't look like a hoarder house, don't get me wrong, right? But it was just that impulse. And when I started changing that programming and letting things go and knowing that my end goal was not to leave my children this massive mess to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm challenged by it every day still, because I like repurposing things and I think everything has a life. But all the same, like, now that reprogramming, that process to just throw something away, I celebrate it because it's part of that reprogramming.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, replacing something instead of using something that I already had. Reprogramming. And so as I was writing this down, the words to hoard went down as that old programming.
Yes. Right.
But it's like, and everybody says it feels really good, but to a person that likes to save stuff, it doesn't feel really good. So you have to put some good feeling around it. Like, I'm, I donate a lot, I give a lot away, I do still sell stuff. I'm making making progress.
Yeah.
Let's say that. Major progress.
Right.
You can walk in my barn.
That's awesome. Right. Well, like, is there another area of your life that you find yourself hoarding, or is it only material possessions?
I hoard money, and I make that a game, and I love that process. But yeah, I kind of transferred it more to that because it serves me better.
Okay. Okay. Well, at least you're aware of it, right? That's the first step, is just being aware that it's a thing. So that when you are presented with the opportunity to, hoard, You have now say, wait a second, do I really need this? What am I really going to do with this thing? Am I really truly like, the guy that has 20 cars in his front yard because he thinks he's going to fix them all and he never fixes any of them because now he's overwhelmed because there's 20 cars in the yard. Where do I start? Right?
True.
Right.
Oh yeah, I totally manifested this whole COVID thing because it keeps me from shopping.
So it's all your fault, Kim.
I didn't want
Kim
to
is the
drive to
whole
work
reason for this
anymore.
damn thing. Oh my gosh, that is hysterical. So the next process in all of this is accountability. Because you can go through all the things, but if you are not held accountable, if you do not hold yourself accountable, how in the hell is this going to actually stick? It's not. So I love acronyms. I make acronyms for all kinds of interesting words that I use in my trainings. And so I made an acronym for accountability. The first one stands for acknowledge. That's the first A. Acknowledge who's responsible, right? Acknowledge what the task is. Acknowledge all of it. So it's just about being clear and intentional, okay? C is contribute. How will you contribute to the success of you or your team? How will you contribute to your own accountability? What will you do? C is courage. To hold yourself accountable and to say, uh-oh, I screwed that one up. It takes courage to admit, right, when we make a mistake. O stands for own your shit. Like you are the owner of your successes and your failures, all of it. It is all you. So own it. Own up. U is understand. Understand that you're not perfect. Understand that your team is not perfect. Understand, making sure that everyone clearly understands their role, their responsibilities. Is everyone on the same page? N stands for never quit. This is not going to change overnight. It's going to require persistence. It's going to require consistency. But never, ever quit. T is for transform. Because you show up and do the work, whose life is going to be transformed because of that? Who is impacted because of you showing up to do what you said you were going to do? A is for able. We all have the ability to impact someone else's life in a positive way. We also have the ability to impact someone's life in a negative way. Right? B is for blame. We do not blame others ever. We don't play the blame game. That's the excuse. It is not coming from a good place. Don't do it. Own up. I is for innocent. We are not ever innocent from the consequences of our actions, good or bad. Every action has a reaction, and we are not innocent from having the consequences show up. L stands for losing face. If you make a mistake, are you going to lose face? Do you have to own up, tell your team that you screwed up, tell a client that you screwed up. Boy, I've had to do that a lot. I screwed up. I made a mistake. Sucks. I is intentional. I always try to start everything I do with setting an intention, about being intentional, about the decisions I make, the successes that I have, the failures that I have. It's intentional. I have to be intentional. Trisha, you're cracking me up. She's like, get out of here. I love it. T stands for take the hit. If you are the leader, if you are in charge, everything comes on you. If your team member screws up, you have to own that. But you can also hold them accountable, right? But still, and Y stands for yes. Yes, I can. Yes, I am capable. Yes, you are capable. So the question is, how will you hold yourself accountable? What will you do to make sure that you show up? What will you do? What will you do to make sure that when these opportunities are going to come through, how are you going to handle those? And the next question is, what was your biggest takeaway from today that you want to implement? One little tiny thing that you're like, ooh, I might want to change that thing that I do. Because remember, it's all on you. You are the problem and the solution. And then what self-sabotaging behavior or habit or thought pattern will you try to be more intentional with and be aware of it so that you can curb it? Remember, it's not going away. I say curb it because it's just kind of like put it off to the side, right? Deal with it later. And so before I let you guys go, I do want to have a Q&A, but I also want to let you guys know of, I have an event coming up that I want to invite you to. I am a huge goal planner. I love to I wanted to have 2 days where I could just sit down and focus and do the work, do the planning, do all the things for 2021. So I put together a 2-day event that I wanted to let you know about in case you decide you want to come, because tomorrow is when the early bird discount ends. So I do have an early bird coupon code. So basically it's a 2-day intensive that is 100% focused on 2021 planning, all of that stuff. It'll be mindset, goals, education, strategy, implementation, and accountability. I will be putting together a workbook that will turn into your business plan for 2021. Like everything that we will be writing down and going through these prompts and giving you more time to do stuff. We'll have masterminds and giving people an opportunity to really focus on what you want to do for next year. So it's 2 days, but it's half day. So one day is the morning. The next day is the afternoon, because you're going to have homework, right? So it'll be 2 full days. I want you to block out 2 full days, but we'll be together half day for each of those. Okay. And so, basically, Elda has already taken a seat. I have 9 seats left. I'm only doing this with 10 people. And so it's December 14th and December 15th. 9 a.m. Pacific time on that Monday, the 14th till noon Pacific time. And then the 15th from 12 o'clock Pacific time to 4 o'clock Pacific time. So like I said, half day, right? And so I just want to remind you, this is one of those opportunities I was telling you about that's going to come along your way. Right? And our old programming is going to say, no, don't do that. That's scary. That costs money. Ah! New programming is going to say, is this an opportunity for me to get my shit together for 2021 so that I can actually get my goals accomplished? So I'm a huge reverse engineer. So when we make our goals, we reverse engineer how to actually make it happen. Right? And what do you need to actually make it happen? So if you register by tomorrow, you'll save $250. Okay. So the early bird special, and there's the coupon code is early bird 2021, all one word. So Christine, do you want to put the link in the chat for people so that if they would decide they want to do that? But all I know is, nobody really saw the pandemic except for Kim over there who manifested it. And I just know that for myself, I want to I know that I have big growth plans and I need time to sit down and just block that time out and just do that thing. So I thought I would invite people to come and join me. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I should make myself a workbook. Well, maybe I can offer that to other people, right? So if you are interested in that, there's a couple things you can do. You can, if you want to talk about it first, you can get a time on my calendar. If you want to just purchase it right now, that's totally fine. It's all on my website. You can just do the little thing, put in your coupon code, and you're good to go. So with that being said, I do want to offer any Q&A. So if you have questions or want to ask any questions about the stuff, if you want to share any takeaways, if you want to this is an opportunity to talk about anything you want to. Don't be shy. It's totally okay. Trisha, I see you mouthing something. Do you have something to say?
No, I'm just like, nobody wants to talk.
I know. I hate the awkward silence.
Yeah. It's like, no, I'm like, I'm overwhelmed, but overwhelmed in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much for me to
digest.
And think on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have all these notes that I took, and now it's like, I'm like, oh, like these light bulbs kept going up.
Yes, I love the light bulbs. Yeah. Yeah. Is there something that you really want to shift for yourself where you want to?
So I think my thing is that I get very overwhelmed trying to think everything has to be perfect.
Yeah.
That I'm afraid to start. And instead of starting and working here you've got say you've got step A, B, C, I want to end on C perfectly. So I'm afraid to start A.
Okay.
And sometimes it takes A to formulate to get there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It is a step-by-step process. I can totally understand where you're coming from with that. One thing that I try to remind myself is to take imperfect action.
Yes.
Imperfect action is better than no action at all.
Right.
Right?
I totally need that. And
the other thing I would say is, do you need help or support around taking those steps? Like if you had someone to talk it out with, or you had, just the clarity, or do you have everything you need in order to do step A correctly? Like, do you have the skills that you need? Do you have the education that you need?
Right.
It's like, what do I need to do this successfully? What skills do I need to learn in order to do this successfully?
And sometimes I just need to dive in.
Right.
you know, and it's like, we're so afraid of that fear. So we don't jump in, you know, jump in the
Right.
pool because we're afraid we can't swim.
Right. Right. Well, like Shannon Crotty once said at Celebration, no one's peeing in the deep end of the pool.
Nope.
I was like, oh my gosh, she just said that.
Thank you, though. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that you were able to come and hang out with us. Becky or Kim or Elda or Sarah, anybody, either of you guys want to share anything?
Well, I appreciate everything that I did catch. I'm sorry I missed the center part and obviously missed the web part. It's interesting because my process, I think 2020 threw me off in the sense that everything that I was normally doing didn't normally happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I immediately went back to my roots, which was like networking and connecting with people and doing it on here.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly feel like that's where all the overwhelm came from, because there's just not enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not focused again. So that's my biggest goal. That's my word for 2021 is focus and just doing the basics, because I've been in this gig long enough to know that the basics work for me, and keeping it simple works for me. And I'm just, I guess the curiosity part, Elaine, honestly, is that I'm not the best planner. I'm really good at following a system. And so that's all I've done in this career is I've just followed the system. And, you know, I've hit the numbers, I've had the success, and I continue to, even through COVID, I just landed my biggest account ever. And I know it's crazy. But I guess there's that part of me that always wonders, like, well, what am I missing out? Because I'm just following the plan and I'm not creating it.
Yeah. So I like to call that winging it, right? Where we just kind of wing it, right? And you just kind of fly by the seat of your pants as opposed to being the pilot. You know what I mean? Huge difference. Being on the plane or flying the plane. Which one do you want to be?
But every time I'm not, but I feel like every time I get off plan, every time I get off the basics, that success is random. It's not. It's not.
Right. It's not intentional.
Yeah.
It's not intentional anymore. Because it's just kind of in this, like, I'm in a winging it kind of thing. And I just kind of like, oh, wow, okay, a random thing just happened. But what if you could actually like plan to know that this is like, I plan based on like, I plan like my content, right? So I plan content based on what I have coming up in the works versus just randomly posting stuff online. I make a plan, right? I have a plan. And so it's just knowing that this is where I'm heading. I have a map. That's all I'm giving myself is a roadmap, as opposed to blindly trying to find somebody's house without having any direction. You know what I mean? That's kind of like how I tell myself is that I need a roadmap, because I will get there a lot quicker if I have a roadmap versus trying to find it in the dark and guess. I don't want to guess anymore. Like I want to be intentional. I want to take intentional action and know that because I am doing the work that amazing things are going to happen. So I'll give you this example. So right now I'm in the middle of No Excuses November. Okay. So everybody there's like 15 people that are in this little cohort with me, and I made a workbook because of course I did. And everybody that is participating in this are like noticing like huge, amazing things are happening for them because they're being intentional with their goal setting. Hi, Paige.
Unmute, sorry. I just got back from a meeting, so I had to rush up here. Hi, everybody.
Hi. We're just finishing up and chatting a little bit. But it's okay. I have a replay. I'll send it over to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, but because everybody is like, so one of the girls I mentioned, like she sent an email that she was really scared to do and she did it. And because she did that, she took intentional action. She's getting positive results from that. And when what you focus on, like if you're focused on getting new clients, or you're focused on making income, if you're focused on this, you're focused on that, guess what starts to happen? All of these things start coming into your path because you are taking intentional action to bring it to you. It's amazing the things that happen when we are intentional with our time and our energy. Craziness.
True.
And every day she's like, oh my God, you guys are going to believe the things that are happening. And I'm like, she's like the poster child for No Excuses November. Amazing things are happening because she is finally getting out of her own damn way. She stopped letting fear dictate her business and the things that she wanted to do. She has a huge goal to open up this therapy center next September. It's a huge thing. And I'm like, okay, we roadmapped it. We basically said, what are the steps that need to happen in order for us to get to there? And we mapped it out. Because otherwise you're just going blindly, and that is not gonna get you where you're trying to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I don't think I'm going blindly, but I'm definitely, I think you use the terminology in here, where we just get off track for a while.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just something comes up. COVID comes up,
Something always
happen.
comes.
So,
something can always come.
I mean, I know where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know exactly what I need to do. I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly how to get there. Done it 2-3 years now in a row. And you probably saw like my latest post where I put up the awards, and that was really for accountability because I can't show those same awards next year. So I have to show them so I can be like, I gotta do better next year. I'm gonna have more.
Yeah.
It's all intentional.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
So,
yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I so appreciate that. I got the link up. I'm going to look through the timing. A Monday, Tuesday, really, girl.
I know. But you know what? I had to look at my calendar and say, realistically, when can I do this before Christmas? Because I don't want to do stuff like, I just don't know. And my son will be home for the holidays on the 18th, right? So I don't want to like not spend time with him while he's here. No. That one's planned. Everybody already knows about that one. That one's all good to go, right? But not this one. Paige, there's a secret. My husband is going to be very surprised on Sunday when my son arrives home from college for Thanksgiving. I know. He thinks my best friend Paige is coming to visit because I had to figure out a way to get him to the airport without him bitching about it.
It's like, would you just let me do something nice?
Yeah. So he thinks my friend is coming to visit to have a couple of days away from her family.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I know.
I finally got my son home from college, and now he's leaving in a week to go start his Air Force career. So.
Oh my goodness. They grow up so fast, huh?
I know. That's where I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life now too, because after raising kids for 33 years, it's the first time as an adult, as a woman, that I haven't been distracted by kids and responsibility for everyone else. So now
That's
it's like
a whole other ball game, isn't it? Like, who am
Yes,
I? Right.
it's a thing for
It is a
real.
thing.
I
Yeah.
really thought that for all those years, after that many years with my kids leaving, that I'd be just like, woohoo, you know, that is not the case at all.
Right.
So that whole empty nest thing, it's for real.
It is for real. I feel you. I'm there. I'm there. Like, we are
It shocked me
now. And it's like, what do I do?
Yeah. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know how. And so, but I'll learn.
Yeah.
I'll learn.
Of course you will. Of course you will. That's a great
I
attitude.
moved 4 states away.
What's that?
I moved 4 states away and started a whole new life.
I don't think my husband and I haven't thought that Hawaii was sounding really good right now.
Right? Right? Oh my gosh.
But I love it here. So
yeah. Yeah. Becky, did you have any questions?
Not any questions. I'm glad I was able to pop in at the last minute there. I had a client that kind of went, but no, I definitely enjoyed these. But since your class back in July, was it July that we did that? August? I enrolled into health and wellness coaching school.
Yay!
So
good job.
And really
Way to
focusing.
do something that scares you.
Yes, and it did too. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really going to do this. So yeah, I've been doing that for the last 6 weeks. And
good.
So,
good.
Yeah. And a lot of it had to do with that class that you ran back in July July.
Yay!
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you. I am trying to get out of my own damn way.
Yes. Hey, I love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I love to hear that. Yeah. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for being wonderful you.
Yeah, absolutely. 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 Sarah, did you have any questions that I can answer for you? She may not be able to. Oh, there she is.
I'm here. I'm just with my children, so I've been off camera the whole time. I'm excited about your class that you put up tonight because I think I resonate with everything that you said tonight, and I need to dig deeper. I know about myself, like you've kind of gone over, and I think having content to actually plan would really save me here. Trying to navigate parenting and me, it's been kind of interestingly difficult during this time and COVID and all of that. And yeah, I think that the next step would be to kind of dive in deeper and see if planning would be helpful for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I have good feedback for you when this is over, but I'm sorry that I couldn't be more present. And I think I was totally messaging somebody else instead of everyone during all of the responses. There you go. I realized I was like, I must not be messaging the right person. So thanks for responding to me. Appreciate that.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I love that. That's so funny. That's so funny.
I have a 3-year-old that has been all over me. So I was like, all right, let me respond to this. Hold on a second. And then finally realized what I was doing.
That's awesome. I love it.
Isn't it a cool thing though that you can do both? I mean,
yes,
you know, in the past
cool.
it would have been one or the other, and it's so cool that you can do a little both.
Yep, I know.
Yeah,
I love that.
I think it's super rewarding and interesting to navigate. It's just we have to kind of figure out what works for us, and we don't know what works for us yet. You know,
you got to try the little different things and see which one actually works. Sometimes, right?
Yeah. So we're kind of in that place right now as a family, and I think I need to get
trial and error
to figure it out. Yes. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, we're so glad that you could come on today.
Well, I'm looking forward to your next class. So thank you for the coupon code and all of that.
Yeah, you're so welcome. So Paige, I have a 2-day class coming up if you're interested, but it's all about planning for 2021 and kind of like diving in a little deeper and I'll be creating a workbook and all that stuff, and it will be turned into a business plan for 2021. So I don't know if you have a need for that or not, but
that is a whole can of worms. So, which I don't want to take up anyway, because I'm that person that it's like, I'm not just going to do one thing. I want to do
multiple
number of things, and so that's what I do. So it's a really interesting world that I've got myself living in, and I love it. But
I know I love all of your behind the scenes stuff with your video and green screens and your commercials and stuff. That's so fun.
Now that's fun, but those are the unplanned things. I can't always plan for those when that's going to happen, and that's not, so there's a lot of things I do like that too. But that's, again, I don't want to take away everybody else's time. So maybe it's something you and I can talk about a little bit later, potentially. Take a little more focus on some things.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I'd love to help you with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I just want to say thank you to everyone that came on the call today, and I really enjoyed this. I hope you guys did too. So, but I'll have the replay up. So if you missed any of it, you'll be able to watch the replay. I'm available for questions. If you have questions, like, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy to help you, because I want it to be a success for you, right? And sometimes you just get stuck on things and you need to talk it out. And that's okay. I'm more than happy to do that. So thank you guys again so much. And I will make sure that everybody that put in their email address somewhere gets a copy of the replay. So thank you guys so much.